everybody. Recording live from somewhere. Well, I have a dream. Somewhere. Well, I have a dream. My poor little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin. I have a dream. I will move it. We make that. Move it. Move it. Move it. We'll fight in France. We'll fight on the beaches. We shall never surrender. We'll never surrender.
I saw the look in his eyes. This guy's crazy. I have a microphone.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for
Damn.
Hi.
Damn.
Hi.
And yeah, I think we're live. Yep. The levels are all looking good. How's your mic, Joe? How are you?
No, check. I think we're good. It's taken a while to get to this point.
Hours.
Who knew that we'd have to undertake YouTube tuition just to get a recording live?
Oh, dude, Google has like literally created everything we have. There's a website, there's socials, there's everything else that comes with it. How do you convert certain file formats? We're basically musical engineers now.
I feel like I should be, but I'm not. I'd like to be, but I'm not. I'm a your average everyday guy. I work at pretty much a 9 to 5.
What a way to earn a living. Right, yeah, I am a normal, like, everyday kind of guy. I am everyday people. As who sung that? Everyday people, dilated pupils. I don't know. But anyway, what I was getting on about is what we've actually learnt to do. This is crazy. Like how to configure microphones, how to import files into editing software, how to build websites.
And that's two guys that don't know their jack cable from their aerial cable. We're not that well versed. I've got a computer that we're running this through, which has basically only got one thing that works, is USB. So everything we bought is USB. That's what we're coming to you live and direct. This is us.
I don't know. I just love the fact that when you're talking about cables, you've gone back to the oldest caveman kind of cables. Everyone's on HDMI and USB for different shit now. And you're just, the aerial cable.
It confuses me. I should be on the cutting edge of technology. I'm 40-something. Like, I should know. I grew up with the change of technology, but I don't. I've got a friend, and I phone him for everything. If I'm looking for a computer, I phone him up and I say, look, dude, what do I need? Like, I want it to do this, what do I need?
Yeah, everyone's got that guy. I've got one of my mates who was just better at everyone else through IT in school and stuff. So you just tend to be like, oh, you know a little bit more than I do, I'll ask you. But what we've learnt doing this is crazy. Like, you turn around to those... I know the guy you're talking about, and he's very good at this stuff. But we've learned probably what he would have advised us to do on this.
Yeah, but it took us about 5-6 hours more time.
Worth it, all right? It was 100% worth it. You can say you did it yourself, independent woman and all that stuff.
So, we are a couple of guys that got a little bit bored during lockdown, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. We've got to the point now where, we're waiting on Boris's every word. So, ourselves as human beings, you diversify and you get your entertainment or your input where you can. And both of us, we started to kind of look at the, podcast format, and more people were popping up on that as a format. And we spoke and we said, one of the things that we missed as for human interaction was just that casual kind of chat round like a pub table. Like, sitting there with your friends, just chatting about things that have gone on through the week. So what we kind of want to do for you guys and for ourselves more than anyone, I suppose, is recreate that in a way. Like, you'll see your news stories out there in the week, but sometimes it takes your friend to explain it in a certain way before you understand it. So just trying to bring a fresh approach.
Yeah, the way I've been describing it to people I've told about is like, it's just us two catching up, putting the world to rights as such. And do you know what, even if no one listens, I don't really care. It's a good excuse for us to meet up once a week and just be like, so what's going on? what's been happening in the world. What do you reckon on this? Did you see this in the news?
And obviously, when you mean meet up, you mean obviously virtually, because we wouldn't break COVID laws.
No, of course not. Past the salt.
Absolutely not.
Past the, yeah, okay. Anyway, talking of which, it has been mental this week. Like, when I started thinking of doing the podcast, I think both of us started to become more aware of the news. With the lockdown, everything, I think everyone's tend to ignore the news because it's like, oh, it's all just the same stuff. Stay indoors, don't do anything. But now, things have happened this week.
Yeah, probably a little bit of both. To be fair, I mean, we can interpret what we've seen in the week.
For example, Tiger Woods got mashed up. I don't know what happened to him. Like, I haven't read anything about it, so I know he's broke some stuff, and I think he's in intensive care or something. But his car, that's the picture I see. His car was mashed up.
My days, that car went off the side of a cliff. He rolled that into about 20 trees, broke his leg in about 100 places. Geezer is not playing top-level golf anymore. But, I tell you, man, how far does a crackhead need to go to get his crack?
Wait, you can't say that. He's an elite golfer, like, at the top of his game.
Yeah, who was addicted to painkillers. The clues in the news, right? His family come out, yeah. Oh, Tiger's had a crash, bad times. The news stories from his family. Oh, I'm so worried about Tiger. I hope he makes a recovery. He's like, I hope that does not get hooked on them painkillers again. That's all they're worried about. So what I'm saying is, how far does a crackhead go to get his crack? Does he stage? Not stage. Does he literally drive himself off a cliff to break his leg so he gets his pain? I don't know, man. It was when he used to be a bit rubbish.
When was this painkiller thing?
I don't know. Like, I'm gonna float a 5-year estimate on that.
And this was like public news because I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was public.
Okay.
I mean, Geese used to be awesome, didn't he? Tiger Woods. He was the face of everything. He was the face of breakfast cereal, TV, computer games, everything.
And then he cheated on his wife, and no one liked him anymore, and he went quiet and stopped winning tournaments, and he became basically average at golf.
But then, perked up, won something that was half decent. Now, obviously, you know, Michael and I don't claim to be factual experts. If we was to err into the world of golf, it's probably not one of our strong points.
Hold on. I know quite a lot about golf. I don't know a lot about the PGA Tour and how they're playing and things like that, but I worked on a golf course for, what was it, two and a bit years? And it was like my first proper job as well. But during that time, I got to play. I became a member. Played in tournaments.
2 and a bit years.
2.5, just under 3 years.
I thought you were going to say like 20 years, just so I could have had a, varied.
I'm not, mate. I'm not as old as you. I don't remember the war. What I'm saying is, it was my first ever job. So basically, look, I worked in the pro shop, and then ran that basically. Then ran upstairs, which included all the functions and the pub and this, that, the other. But during that time, on my breaks, I got to play golf, and obviously, I had a pro at the course who was very inspirational. We didn't get on really, but he was amazing at his job. I'll name drop now. His name's Nigel Birch, right? And he was playing in the Open, the British Open.
Is that a name drop? If I've never heard of him?
Well, you will, because you're old.
Does that count as a name drop?
So, when Princess Margaret got married, right, you'll remember that?
Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret.
It's Margaret.
When Princess Margaret got married, it was all like on the TV, and it come up breaking news. Nigel Birch leads the British Open. Nick Faldo was in second, right?
This sounds like he told you this
No. I've
himself.
seen it because my old man remembers it, right? But
calling bullshit.
No, I swear to God, right? And he was such a gambler, an alcoholic, that he went out that night to celebrate, got pissed up, gambled a load of money, didn't turn up for the tee-off the next day and got disqualified. And that's how he ended up working in a tiny little golf course.
I thought you said this was going to be an inspirational story.
Oh, no, but the guy was sick. Like, when you know golf and you can play, I got half decent. I got down to a 7 handicap. But this guy would pick up a driver and it'd be like, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll bend it around this tree and land it over there. And just pick it up and put it there. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, so basically I can give a bit of detail and background around golf because I know it. I enjoy it. I've got a tournament coming up in a couple of months that I plan every year. It's a memorial one, so it's good. It's going to be weird this year. Obviously, you can't use the bar, and Boris said you're not allowed to talk to your friends properly.
They say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Oh no, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. You and I went away to where did we go? Lanzarote.
Yeah, God, that was years ago.
Oh
yeah.
Jesus, went away with
Your current
my
wife
missus at
and
the
my
time and your missus
ex-girlfriend.
at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I married my wife. Yours turned into a lesbian. That's probably a different podcast.
Whoa. Well, she was a lesbian before.
Like I say, probably a different podcast. But we went there, and I'd never swung a club ever. Never in my life swung
I
a club.
remember that. That was brilliant.
And we put a ball down. Mike, as he said, he's mentioned, he worked at a golf club for like 2 minutes, learned a couple of tricks. But he said to me, you know, what was it? Square your shoulders, something like that. Bish bash bosh. And I hit that ball, and I heard that sound. You know that sound when you're watching it on TV and you hear that ting.
You know when you kick a football and you can't feel it come off your foot because you've hit it that sweet. You feel that with a golf club, and that's what you did. You had one of them, and that's the problem with golf. Someone will do that for the first time and go, why can't I do that every time? And you'll try and get more consistent at doing it, and that's the bug.
I tried it on the very next shot.
Didn't work.
Didn't get the same effect at all. No, but I'm pretty sure there was some kind of sand involved.
For someone, and I don't really want to get into too much detail around golf, but for someone who had never been like on a driving range really or anything like that,
Oh, it was satisfying.
I put you on a course, which was a decent course as well.
I can see how geezers get involved in, getting dressed up all kinds of silly and walking up and down.
I still don't get the dress code thing yet, but my point is you didn't just step up and hit a ball. You had to get it in the hole, so you had to putt as well or chip it from a little distance and stuff like that.
That weren't too good though. The
But
putting.
you stepped up and did that first
First
time.
shot, mate. It's the first shot. I'm taking
You
that.
was good.
I'm probably terrible at golf. I've never played it since.
Just quickly going back before we come off the golf subject, they are genuinely worried about Tiger Woods, his family. They're worried about him becoming addicted to painkillers again, like you mentioned. But it's just
probably more worried about how much they're going to get out of the will, aren't they? The geezer is moneyed.
they're just promoting the painkillers. Like, yeah, go for it, boy. Don't worry about us.
Did you see Daft Punk this week? You know I love Daft Punk.
Yeah, yes,
I
like
literally-
huge fan,
I
and your mum does as well. Like
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
proper good little connection you've got there. That shows they appeal to different audiences as
Beats
well.
is beats, man. Beats is beats.
Well, yeah.
It is the second or first best live experience I've ever had in my life. That's another story. But fuck yeah, man. They're breaking up this week. Now, they're not breaking up, and this is the thing that got me. Soon I've got, what they call them, headline grabbers, clickbait.
Okay, yeah,
So yeah, clickbait. So, I'm a sucker for a bit of clickbait.
yeah.
And I saw a picture of Daft Punk, and they said something along the lines of, these guys are splitting up. And I was clicking on that straight away. Clicked on it, read it. They're not actually splitting up. Which is
Okay,
great
I thought they
news.
was.
No, they're not. They're basically disbanding or debunking the Daft Punk alter ego.
So I haven't seen. Sorry, I heard from a friend I was on the phone to today that there was a video went out that them two as kind of cartoon characters or however it was graphics. They're walking together,
In the
one
desert.
after another.
Yeah,
that's it, in the desert, and then one stops and the other one keeps walking, and then he turns around, walks back up to him, turns around, and there's a self-destruct button on him, and he pushes the button and walks away.
Brilliant.
Now that is brilliant. That's a very Daft Punk thing to do. It kind of Gorillaz thing to do as well. But that to me says we're done, we're over.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and it's very much in keeping with how they're presenting themselves as a audio experience. They're primarily they're DJs and they produce beats, but they've always been very conscious of their visual representation. Obviously, they do things like the helmets and stuff, but they produce like mini films, mini cartoons.
Okay, so talking about the helmets, as a big Daft Punk fan, what do you think about the fact that governments across the world are saying it's compulsory to wear a mask, and these two literally turn around and go, "Yeah, that's not for us anymore."
To be fair, yeah, they've literally taken them off, haven't they? a bittersweet irony there, though. They've never actually made a secret of who they are. I know they've worn masks for a long period, but for their very early period, they didn't wear masks. Their faces are well known. But when they adopted the persona of Daft Punk, they wore helmets. How many helmets have they had made for them?
That's a weird question. Do you want to clarify that?
I have no idea. But every photo you look at, whenever I'm looking at Daft Punk's helmets,
This is what I'm saying. Do you really
they're
want to
always
clarify?
they've got a different kind of shape.
Shall we say mask? Oh my god!
But
Shall we
the
say
light-
mask?
the
Let's
light-
go with mask.
The light bounces off them in a different direction. They glisten differently.
You know what you're doing there, right?
Yeah, but that's Daft Punk, man. Like it literally made my heart skip a beat when I saw the words Daft Punk splitting up. But then I obviously went on to read the context, which what you should do. You need to read the context, man. Like complicated ridiculousness.
It's
Again,
clickbait, like you said. There's so many times that I look at it and go, you just want me to click on it with that kind of headline. And I know it's clickbait and it's not even going to be true. Like, football's perfect when they say about so-and-so's talking about their future, right? And then you're like, you click on it knowing that they're not actually. They've done an interview and they've pretty much said, oh, I love the club I'm at, but who knows what's going to happen in the future. But then that clickbait turns it round into wants to leave or something. As a Man United fan, I have seen Pogba do that for 3 years now.
Oh, don't get me started on it.
But it's going back to what you said about clickbait. So, especially with everything that's going on in the world now, there's so much clickbait around where that one headline gives you one impression.
Your club's a clickbait. That's what Manchester United is clickbait. It's like, look what you could have won.
Look what we won.
Look at our nice shiny badge. Look at what we pretend to be as a club. What are we? We're a Portuguese 5'2", 8 stone midfielder who scores penalties club. You know, you're all right. You're sitting second in the league. Not bad.
I don't know about that. I'd go with Marcus Rashford, one of the hottest properties in the Prem.
He's all right, isn't he?
Oh, he's so good. As an England fan, you must just want him to never break a leg.
He's mustard.
I need to touch wood.
He's mustard.
Yeah, I'm touching wood.
Right, commend his political side. Yeah, love the fact that he's got
kid's
a
amazing.
platform and he's making absolutely, without doubt, a lot of use of that. But ability on the pitch, mate, geezer's mustard.
Like, he's making what Ronaldo used to do and impress everyone. He's doing it so casually. How many times does he flip-flap in a match?
Whoa.
No, sorry. Don't
be discussing him in the same sentence as Ronaldo.
I'm not really.
Not Ronnie.
I'm not really.
Not Ronnie.
But what I'm like, football's evolved so much, whereas little things like flip-flaps or step-overs are just normal. You don't blink an eye when someone does it on a pitch really anymore.
That's nice, man. I like that. And
I do.
the aesthetic element is like what gets you off your seat as a football fan. But at the end of the day, man, show me the stats at the end of that game. Don't show me possession, touches in the box, etc. Show me assists, show me goals.
The thing...
It's where he lets himself down a
No,
little
the
bit.
best players can't be proven on stats. So yeah, you've got Ronaldo and Messi, but the one stat you can't prove is how they pick up a team. You look at someone like Steven Gerrard.
Oh,
What he did for Liverpool when he was captain in those Champions League finals, in Premier League games when they needed it, just at cup games, everything. They made comebacks look easy, right? And it was all because he picked that team up and put in so much effort. David Beckham did it for England towards the end of his career.
well, I'll tell you what. You know you've done all right in your career when they name a cup final after you.
What?
They name a cup final. If you play well enough in a cup final, people remember certain games
Oh.
and they associate with certain people.
Yeah.
Gerrard, he's got 2 cup finals.
No, hold on. You're a West Ham fan, so that's
He's got
personal.
2 cup finals named after him. He's got the FA Cup final against my beloved West Ham. As much as it broke my absolute heart into millions of pieces.
Where, by the way, he said that the reason he hit that shot was because his legs were knackered. And
I mean-
he was talking to the ref and then just stepped up.
I wasn't even angry. It was Roy the Rover stuff. Like I was gutted for my boys, but
What a shot, though.
yeah, he hit that. Iconic commentary, iconic shot, absolutely amazing. It's known as the Gerrard Cup final. Brilliant. You dream of that as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, stop your career right there. I'm done. No. Gazer goes on. to the Champions League Cup final.
AC Milan.
We know the story. Spanked by AC Milan, 3-0 half time.
3-0. It's just
go on.
Hold on, you can't skip over that. That is mental. You're 3-0 down at half time. Now think of the psychological emotions that you feel like you're getting battered, and you're trying. It's not as if it's a normal cup game or anything. This is the final. You're pouring your heart on that pitch, and you're getting ruined. So you're sitting there, surely thinking, "What can we do?"
They didn't just get ruined, did they? It was like it was that geezer out front.
Shevchenko.
No, Shevers. It was Shevers, and the other fella was at Chelsea. South American fella. Can't remember his name.
Anyway.
No, we'll come back to him. But he scored a couple. I think was that the game that Maldini scored in like the first 2 minutes?
It was. I can't remember the details of who scored for them.
To ever step on the face of this earth, Maldini,
but
or Buffon. Italians, man.
They had like.
Did
Did they have Seedorf at that point? AC, Kaká. They were big.
No, I think that was after that era.
They had some big players. They might have had Pirlo at the time.
Yeah, I think Pirlo.
Dude, but anyway, they were brilliant.
And that's
a great
known
team.
as the Gerrard. To me, that's known as the Gerrard Cup final. So that geezer's had 2 cup finals named after him. What a player!
And just anyway, going back to what we were saying about stats, you can't. What stat proves that? The way he picked that team up, you can't.
You can't measure that.
That's what makes some of the great players.
Look at my mob. At a minute, West Ham, right?
Yeah.
We're a club that's got capability. We've got players. We've got a little bit of money. We can buy. We can buy players. We're not a selling club necessarily.
Not anymore. We used to be.
We used to have to sell our assets. Everyone wants to buy Declan Rice. He's amazing, but
we want Declan Rice.
Everyone wants Declan Rice. But you look at us now.
Even Scotty McToms are just beautiful.
You look at us now, and we've got the right character of player. And that don't, as you rightly say, you don't measure that in statistics. We signed Soucek, or Soucek, I'm not Czech, I don't know how to pronounce it, Kufal or Sufal, whatever you want to say about them fellas, their statistical output is out of hand. Great, they look like they're great players. Soucek, for example, he run, after the game we played your mob, where we went to extra time, he went all the way through. In the next game, he ran 17 kilometres. In that game, that's something like 4 kilometres above normal average Premier League performance. His character built him that. He used to go running with his mum in the forest in Czech Republic as a kid, just for fun. Just for fun. They didn't have a lot to do. They didn't have PlayStations coming out of their ear rolls. He went running for fun with his mum, and that's what he brings. But that's a character trait. Look at Sufal at the minute for us.
When you say character, right, it's any player in any team. So you say about Fernandes, who came in for us. I think it's the right type of character, and this is what Solskjaer tried to do. It's the right type of character, as in they're team players. And it's so much easier when someone comes in and wants the team to do well. For example, giving up penalties for another player, for helping each other out. They don't care about individual records, really. And those are the things that you can't measure. I think Fernandes, for us, has been the first kind of player that's had that impact that you can't measure. What you're saying about West Ham at the minute, and I agree, but I think that's a handful of players that want to do well for the team. Jesse Lingard, for example.
Oh, thanks for that, by the way.
Well, it leaves us because he signs with Raiola when he starts slagging off United left, right and centre.
Thanks for him.
So, dick move, you're pretty much kicked out of the club from there. And then comes to you, and I think he realises that he can rejuvenate his career by just getting on, being a team player, not caring about individual stats or brand. If yous lot do well, he'll get praise for that.
I mean, we won't turn it into a football podcast, but he's coming to a very accommodating West Ham team and squad and set up for, just to absorb and give love. There's a lot of love going on in our team.
Yeah, and you think that's without fans. Like, it's crazy how football's changed this year. And I think why it's been so tight is because there's been no fans. But hopefully that's changing soon.
But is that the difference between the so-called bigger and smaller clubs? I mean, West Ham have always been documented as having a quiet... In recent years, In the media, if you hashtag toxic fans, I think you'd find a lot of articles linked to West Ham. And I'm not going to condone the kind of activities that a lot of people took.
But does that change now? Like, now fans are going to be allowed back in. Are you going to appreciate it more? Does society change now? You've got Boris Johnson giving out his plan and saying about going back to normal life, but is normal life going to be normal? So, for example, I was talking to a friend the other day. When you go back into business meetings, for example, do you shake someone's hand, or is that now frowned upon? How mental is that? How's society changing?
What's going to be the new norm?
Exactly that. Fans going back to stadiums, are they going to appreciate football more? And you'll see a lot less, not hooliganism, but bad behaviour, shall we say?
You're going to get an absolutely incredible atmosphere. What a weekend that is going to be when stadiums are allowed to return back to 100%, whatever that looks for protocol safety measures. You get them back to 100% attendance capacity. What a weekend that will be. And I'm a West Ham season ticket holder. Hopefully, I'll be there as well. I can't wait. I shared a video the other day just because it was football. And all it was, I shared a video and it was about 8 minutes long and it was into my West Ham match day group. And all it was it's called Football Limbs. I don't know who makes these videos. Get on YouTube, that's where you find it. And it's goal celebrations where someone scored a goal. Sometimes the goal's brilliant, sometimes it's not. It's just a bit standard. But they go over to the crowd and the crowd are going absolutely oriental. They're going mental. They're literally going absolutely bananas. They're spilling out. Players are jumping in, and it gave me the goosebumps, and it made me realise how much I missed. Like, even those crappy nights when I had to go down to the London Stadium, I don't mind it, to be fair. The stadium itself, it's not a patch in Upton Park, but going down there on a Wednesday night, getting spanked by City 5-0, which is apparently the only result they beat us by nowadays, and coming home at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I hated them.
But the point is that you was able to live that life, right? Life has its ups and downs, but you was able to go out, you had the freedom to go there, experience that. Yeah, it was a brand new stadium and everything, and it is a great atmosphere. I've been 2 or 3 times. I genuinely have. Me and you have been. Where did we go? Huddersfield.
I was out of band.
Was that the one that was 4-3 it finished?
Well, we had your pal, didn't we, and his young boy with us.
Yeah, he was
not
7 or 8.
necessarily West Ham supporters. I think
they are West Ham supporters, but they don't follow the league. Like, they couldn't tell you the last
Chelsea
game,
more, weren't they? But
no, hold on. Let's not get it twisted because they're West Ham fans.
But their granddad supported.
Their granddad has a Chelsea season ticket, so they've been there a couple of times. Like,
lads.
I'm a Man United fan. I've been to West Ham.
We had a great day.
Yeah,
great day. And I think you are right. I think we were 3-0 down. We were back to 3-3, something like that. And I just remember running up to you boys because we were opposite stadiums. I was in Brooklyn. I think you boys were around the other side. I remember running up to you, and little lad that was with us, the smile on his face,
beaming,
absolutely going mental. And I can't remember. Did we have who in the team at the time? He was singing a particular chant, and it was just brilliant. And for me, that's the joy of what football brings. West Ham recently, for me, it's been a distraction to the day. I've seen it more, and I value it more now. Now we're in lockdown. I value it more, and it was always more about meeting up with my friends, talking about anything and everything that wasn't necessarily to do with the game we was going to watch, and we got distracted by 90 minutes watching a game of football, but it got in the way of a bit, a day pass from the family and the missus.
Well, that's the good thing about back to normal life, because I run the boy you're talking about that we went with and my mate. We run a football team that he plays in, and
great lad.
He is a great lad, and they are a bunch of brilliant lads. We've been working with them I've been there for about 3 years now, and my mate's been there since he started the team, about 4 or 5 years. But we get to go back to that. This whole plan that the government have laid out for us to go back to normality is exciting. It gives people a reason to get excited again. I've got we posted it on our social media, but the timetable of when things get to come back, you've got things like at the end of March 29th, outdoor sports is back.
So is that you? Is that you and your lads?
That is, you can go and play football again.
Sick.
You ain't even got to be part of a team. You can go over the park and play football with your friends. There's a rule of 6 still in place, but
Yeah, man. You can get out there. You can get active again.
you got outdoor sports again. Then things start to loosen up. April the 12th, there's more things start to open up. Gyms will open up. That will keep a lot of people happy, because that's been especially on the mental health side of things, people who usually go to the gym and have that release, haven't got that release now.
Yeah, it drives a chemical release and exercise.
Endorphins, yeah. But that's lasted a year. People forget this is hit a year coming up. That's crazy. And these people that changed their lifestyle like that, if you used to go to the gym every single day and that's how you started your day, how difficult was it the first week? And then that lasted a year.
I do wonder. I mean, perhaps this is a subject for another day, but I do wonder what the hole that's been punched through our generation.
Yeah.
We're not even going to realise. We won't even realise this until 10, 15, 20 years' time, when we go, damn, that was because of that.
Maybe not even then. As in, where's the statistic you could have to prove that this year you can do the baby boom from the war? That's easy to...
Yeah, trackable events.
That's easy to track. But, yeah, you could say now, how many babies during the whole year of lockdown compared to normal?
How many divorces happened?
But, yeah, divorces.
I'm gonna come close.
How many... And I don't want to go into it, but...
I come close. I realise spending 24 hours with your wife 7 days a week is perilous.
Not even your wife, just any human being.
I love her.
Any other human being.
We come close.
But... yeah, without getting too deep, what about suicides? What about people that have lost their jobs and businesses?
Yeah. Deep.
It is deep. And how do you measure that? That's what we're saying. How do you measure that
what's
in
the
20 years to come?
Society? This is an unmeasurable statistic, isn't it?
But hopefully things start to get back to normal.
Boris only goes by what, he can have measured to him. And it's not even him. People don't realise, I'm sure people do, some people may not, but it's got to be a hard job, isn't it? Prime Minister? It's got to be hard.
It's not just him, is it? He's the spokesperson for the team of people that work this stuff out.
But he handpicks that team. So, like a football manager picks his team because of who he thinks is going to be the best team to attack a particular opponent. I suppose that is political. It's like a game of chess. Boris has to pick a team of people around him that he thinks is going to be able to advise him correctly around situations. Granted, he gets the sign off or the final say. I'm not entirely sure how it works.
Well, he's the face of it, so he's got to believe in what he's saying, really.
Imagine that. You imagine getting thrown into your job. How long was he in the job? Like 3 minutes? And then they went, bosh, COVID, son, deal with that.
Well, no, he got the job and it was like, finish Brexit. And then all of a sudden, there's a global pandemic. You might have to deal with that one first. But I think when you look back, everyone will look back at this and say, how did the government do? And they'll judge the Conservatives on, especially Boris's time at the top. But they'll judge that.
Are they the blue ones?
They're Boris, yeah.
They're the blue ones. Okay.
And the granny before him, Theresa May.
Okay,
Margaret.
I'm not super hyped on it. Blue.
But they'll look back at it and say, did they do well, right? And I can honestly say, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, but I can honestly say that given the information they had at the time and the circumstance of what they knew at the time, they did all right. If you look back on anything, you can say they could have done better. But given what they knew at the time, they did all right. I work for a financial institution and giving out loans to businesses and don't have to pay it back for so long, and tax exemption.
You've got to keep the economy going.
Yeah,
that's the biggest worry about this stuff. Like, I know there's a very immediate and a very, very immediate health implication of this, but economically speaking, man, this could bury us as a country, couldn't it?
Well, it could have. I think if we wasn't as... You got to think, you talk about the credit crunch and recession and all this stuff that's happened.
We've done it before.
We're still one of the strong forces of the world.
Right, we're one of the stronger countries. We should be able to deal with this much more efficiently in other places.
Anyway, has there been anything else that's kind of caught your eye this week in the news?
You're not going to get throughout the week without a little bit of Harry and Megs, are you? They've dominated a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot of my scroll time this week has been spent going past Harry and Meg's face.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting one because what it seems like to me is they turned around and said, well, we don't want to be proper royals and have all the duties. So they was like kind of the outskirts of the royals. And now they're turning around and saying, well, now we don't even want to be considered royals. Like, we don't want anything to do with you. Is how the media's portrayed it. Harry and Meghan are out there like, I hate the media. They're basically turning around. Harry's blaming the media for his mum's death, right? And which he is. He's outright said it, pretty much.
Yeah, you can link those words in a sentence together. I'll give you that.
He has. He's outright blamed them for it. And he holds a grudge against them. And I even heard something where he was saying about he doesn't care about programs that are written about the royals because that's fiction and people can take it as fiction. But it's when journalists are reporting things that they're saying are true, which people believe are true because it's the news, where they're not. They're just reporting speculation in a way as if it's fact. Surely you'd understand that as a human being.
It's having that level of scrutiny on your life. Imagine growing up. You can't.
Imagine growing up ginger.
I can't.
I can.
It must have been terrible. But imagine, and we can't for all intents and purposes, we can't. But imagine growing up as a royal subject. I like the fact that when it got to Di and Charles's kids, they normalised them. They sent them to what looks to be normal kind of schools. They did normal kind of shit. Di took them on school runs, that kind of stuff. But
yeah. But that's a
world away from us.
I think that's what Harry and Meghan are trying to do, in a sense of like saying what they're getting each other as presents and stuff.
Well, they're not. That's the other guys, isn't it? It's Harry and Megs that are causing a little bit of a rift. Like Wills and Kate, they're banging. They're in the regime. They're happy. They're happy to conform.
Yeah.
Harry and Megs are doing something a little bit different. And I'm not a royalist. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not a royalist. I don't agree with the fact that they should just be allowed to do certain things in certain social situations, and we should treat them a certain way because they hold a title.
Yeah,
I think it's outdated.
But right, so I was thinking about this the other day. As soon as I started hearing about Harry and Meghan again, put this on the Queen. I honestly think, and this is not against her personally, but she should go down as the worst queen that we've ever had. Purely because, right, that is a bold
Jesus! That's a bold claim, brother. I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say she's up there with one of the best. She's a monarch supreme.
You can argue for both points. The reason I say that, there's not been another monarch that has lost control as much as the Queen has. Who was it before her? Queen Victoria? No.
A subjective.
Who was it before Queen Elizabeth? Queen Victoria?
I don't know this. I didn't do this rhyme.
It was Victorian
There's
time.
a rhyme. You can remember this stuff for a rhyme, but that's not me, bro. I didn't do that.
It went up to 1901, I think.
Jeez, these are strong opinions.
But no other monarch has lost control of a country. Not a country, our country. I'm just talking about English monarchs.
Do you mean occupy territory?
Power. The Queen before her was able to probably write off certain laws, this, that, the other. Now it's all government.
How you measure in power?
King Henry VIII created a religion to get a divorce. This Queen doesn't actually hold an opinion on Brexit and has no power over what happens about it whatsoever, or happened, or whatever.
Your arguments are invalid. That's not a valid basis for an opposite opinion.
Well, okay, so it's a fact that this monarchy holds less power than any other monarchy before it, right?
Based on what? What's your measurement?
Of influence over a country. So their laws, taxes, this, that, the other.
Subjective.
No, well, it's not. Every other monarchy before it had that kind of power. Our one doesn't. So that's the reason I say she should go down as the worst. However, on the flip side, she could go down as the best because she had to change with the times. No other king or queen has reigned in such a technologically advanced spell of time.
Not even just technology, it's socially as well.
Well, when she was the queen,
Social
was there
changes.
TV, colour TV?
That's a basic element of it, but the massive social changes, social economic changes that have happened in her time. She's been on that throne since what, 54 coronation? I think it was 54.
So
It's a long time.
what's happened since then that
Oh,
affected?
Jesus, what ain't happened
no,
since
but that's
1954?
affected society. So you just
Everything.
think of the internet coming around,
What's happened in the last
social media.
5 years?
things that go around on TikTok and influence everyone's life. And there's a new saying that comes out, everyone gets into. You think she notices that?
No, completely different media. Of course she does. She watches stuff.
But that takes power away from the people in charge.
As much as I don't really like the kind of faux media presence, but there was a clip that surfaced today. Harry and James Corden. And I don't mind the fella. I don't mind James Corden. He's a little bit cheeseburger. He's over in America. You know, he's getting paid. He's doing his thing. But there's the thing where Harry and James Corden reenacted the rap from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, brilliant. No, I haven't seen that.
No, guys, have a little look. It's good. We all do it. We all know the rap. We all sing it to each other. Do we necessarily imagine a prince of the realm?
Why not? Why not?
Well, this is where they normalise the royal approach for us.
No, that's different because that was intentionally trying to normalise the royals in the past. This is Harry going, yeah, go on, I'll come on the show. Just for the bants. He's not doing it for a star appearance. He's not selling a book. He's not promoting anything. He's not trying to act normal. I don't think he's trying to keep an image up. I genuinely think he's like, yeah, that'll be a laugh. And James Corden doesn't hold an opinion on all this.
No, you're right.
So, yeah, I'll get involved. It's a laugh.
That also comes from a man who thought it'd be a laugh to get dressed as a Nazi.
It's funny, though.
I laughed.
And to be fair, his granddad's a Nazi, so...
They're all German, aren't they?
Well, okay, sorry. His granddad's German. But I'm sure I've heard somewhere ages ago as well, that Prince Philip's ancestors were part of the Nazis. Or someone, or maybe one or two of them, were in the Nazi regime.
That's a tremendously bold claim, man. I don't know. I don't know who's linked in with the royal family or the Nazi regime, but you've got to think them paths are crossed over time.
They've got to. Someone in that kind of position of power from a country that were all the Nazi regime at one point. That had to have happened at some point, right?
I think before we get into that, we need a fact checker before we start kicking off conversation on that. What else you seen in the news this week, man? What are you saying?
I can't honestly think. Oh, yeah, no, I can. So, have you seen those pictures of Mars?
Oh shit, yeah, man. They landed something this week, didn't they? Like a camera on it or something?
So they did, yeah. And people are looking at different things that this camera has taken. But the first video was of them landing the camera. It's called something. It begins with a P. I'll have to have a look. The name of it. It's like Perspective or something. That might even be it. But they released a video of landing it from the aircraft or whatever it was that dropped it onto the planet. And they even took it one step further and recorded that so that for future missions, they could plan it better and get like basically 100% results of these things landing. Where was it? I think I read it or see it on social media. They had 9 cameras, and through that, 6 of them survived and 3 of them failed. But through those 6 ones, they managed to capture the whole landing of it.
So there's no possibility of this being a fake. No one can put that up.
That might be another reason why they were so in
a conspiracy theory forum in like 6 months' time ago. Look at the flag, man. It's fluttering the wrong way.
They're literally like, do you know what?
Way.
Fuck this flat Earth shit. We're going to record all of it and prove to them that this is legit.
That's incredible. Let's not underestimate. And maybe it's been a little bit lost on me. Maybe apparently not so much on you, but maybe that's been a little bit lost on me. That's momentous, man. We've touched down on Mars. We ain't just touched down on Mars. We've touched down something that can beam back a visual picture
and audio. So there was a clip I think it was on the Daily Mail social, and it is basically you can just hear the the engine's running on this thing.
What's the most creeped out thing? If you was
You can
alone
hear
on
like
Mars.
a breeze.
If you was alone on Mars.
No, that's weird.
You're
honestly, mate.
you're in the middle of the night. What's the most
breeze.
creeped out thing that someone can say to you?
There's a breeze.
What's going to creep you out the most?
That's weird. Why is there wind on Mars?
see you. I see you.
Why is there wind on Mars?
Why would there not be wind? Is it not possible for wind? I don't know the geographic elements of it.
Oh God, I wish my brain could recollect things that I've took in. But I watched this documentary, One Strange Rock. It was called. It was Will Smith on Netflix. It was brilliant. I told you to watch it, and you never got there in time. They took it off, but it was like a David Attenborough kind of thing.
Am I
But
trusting my spatial factual information from Will Smith?
Oh,
Is he
no, it's
reading through
really
a
good.
script or is he freestyling?
No, it's all scientific, and he's reading it like Attenborough.
Like a Disney thing.
Nah, man, it's good. Honestly, don't. You take the piss out of it, watch it. If you can catch
Alright.
it anywhere, I
Oh,
think
no,
it's
I'm
on
on
Amazon
that.
Prime.
I'm on that, man. I'm up for like opening my mind.
What they do they have a lot of episodes like Attenborough. They talk about different wildlife, this, that, the other.
Mm-hmm.
But in the first couple of ones, they explain how the world works, how it come around, and just how it works.
Shit.
So there's only wind because of clouds, and clouds can only form from water, so that water usually tends to lead to life, this, that, the other. But for there to be a breeze on Mars, it's got no real atmosphere around it. So that's a space breeze. It's just eerie.
Space breeze, is that a technical term or is that just what we're coining right now? Like I say, I don't understand it. I just think it's mad that we've gone to a planet and from what seemed to be 6 months ago, somebody landed something on there and we took a sample of the rock and we analysed it. Still don't know what the outcome of that is, but now we're landing fucking cameras up in that shit.
That are giving live
On
streams
Mars.
back. This ain't just...
On Mars, I don't
Yeah.
even know how far that is away. Let me go. Let me look.
Why is
while I'm
it if you
talking
go
you.
to Cornwall, you lose a signal? But these are live streaming from Mars.
Yeah, they're also like $25 billion satellites. You ain't getting that from
Well,
free.
then maybe look after your own a bit first, so that when I'm going on a nice
BT
little walk...
Internet ain't putting a $3 million or $3 billion satellite up for you, bro.
It's not that, it's the Cornish people down there, like not liking the big satellites going up.
Do you know your galactic travel at all?
I watched Star Trek. Does that help?
Let's have a guess. Just, how far do you think Mars is away? How do you think they even measure it?
I don't know. They do it in feet, don't they? Because they do the sky, so like where the ozone layer is. Or
My...
I know they do it in miles,
God.
wouldn't they?
Right.
In miles? Give me that. Is it in miles?
Right, it's miles.
Okay.
Jesus.
Is it 500 miles? Because the Proclaimers would definitely put something on.
There's nothing that rhymes with this distance. If that helps.
I mean, that sounds more like a challenge. Go on.
There's nothing that rhymes with this distance.
Go on.
The distance from Earth to Mars is about 33.9 million miles. Million miles.
Okay.
That's mental.
I mean, just going back to the challenge that you kind of said, all you got to do is rhyme something with miles.
I'm pretty happy that they haven't turned into like light years and things like that there. At least I can
Yeah,
like...
to lose me.
Yeah.
We'd rather tell you billion miles than make
I
up
can
something
I
else.
can quantify. God damn. Oh, hello. Look, we've got things. All right, so Jupiter, 894 miles. Saturn's bare, 1.6 billion miles. Neptune, 4.6. Damn, there's like 3 million miles in between them shits. All right, to the nearest 10 million, how far away is the sun from the Earth?
Hold on, you've just given me Mars was what, 39 something million.
And there's the sun.
Did you say in billion or million?
It's million,
Oh.
apparently. According to my rough Google
The
search.
sun I'm going from us is got to be like 120 million.
Hey, man, that's not bad.
Go on.
Give or take 20 odd million light years.
Light years.
you ain't done bad. It's 148.
Well, yeah, I mean, there or thereabouts, yeah. You know.
I think that's better than I would have done. I don't think I'd have got as close as that.
Well, no, I just thought Mars is the closest to us. Sun is like, what, 3 planets plus away, so...
To be fair, I didn't really study astronomy in school. Studied a lot of things in school. I got the option to choose a couple of subjects. It comes to, what was it, history, geography...
But bear in mind, they was using chalk and abacuses when you was in school.
No, in all seriousness.
Did you ever get hit by the cane?
No, I didn't get it by the cane. That was a little bit outdated, but when I was in my junior school, I had headmaster.
Yeah.
He used to give you this thing called the milkshake.
Oh, that sounds disgusting. Did he ever go to prison? Did he bring all the boys to the yard?
He's dead now.
Oh, okay.
He's dead now.
Sorry.
His house burnt down. I don't know why, but he's dead now.
Fuck?
No, I didn't. But in primary school, he'd give you this thing called a milkshake, and every kid was petrified of it, absolutely petrified. And genuinely, what he used to do, he would grab you by the shoulders, put an hand on each shoulder, left and right, grab you, extend his arms out, dead straight, and he'd shake your brain around in your head. Like it is,
That's how you kill a baby, innit?
like he was making scrambled eggs, and that ish was allowed. I always remember going into his room, and it smelt of cigars. This is obviously when teachers were allowed to smoke on school grounds. It's way before any kind of pub ban come in. But you go in there, and he'd do this milkshake. He did it once out on the floor, and I remember he bashed.
And they're like, it's better than yours.
Many a joke, but he bashed a young kid around. But he didn't mean, I'll say he bashed a young kid around, he didn't bash a young kid. He was giving a milkshake, like, that's his thing.
Okay, can we not call it a milkshake? Can you just say he was like shaking him?
He was shaking him. We called it a milkshake. So he's shaking him by the shoulders and he's got him. But as he's shaking him around, he's kind of lost a little bit of balance. And he's he's trod on the bottom of the chalkboard. He shaked his head against the chalkboard, so he's going bang, bang, bang every backstroke.
Yeah.
He never did it again.
Well, so he nearly murdered a kid, and then it was like, I probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Never did it. I imagine, who knows? I imagine he got stripped by the PTA board. But yeah, and that was. And what I'm going to say, I left that school in 1990. So that was happening in 1990.
So basically, we just went from talking about Mars and technology and how great things are to when people used to get caned and you had a headmaster who basically committed GBH on children. Nice. I think we should move on to debate point.
Yeah, debate point. Let's do that. This is an interesting thing. So what we're going to try and do each week, we'll pick something that is potentially a little bit controversial. Sometimes it's a little bit indefensible. But what we'll try to do for
Good word.
For the good of debate is try to adopt a 360 view around that. Give the positive, give the negatives, give the things we do and don't believe in, just to see what opinion we may or may not be able to change or you come out the same at the end.
Okay, so this
your
week's
first- what we
debate
got?
point. How should vaccines be rolled out, either in a priority order, and if they are, what's the criteria for those priorities? Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one to start with. Very
controversial.
Very relevant.
Controversial.
So go on. Well, we haven't necessarily got to take a side. What's your opinion on? Should they? Okay, firstly, should they be prioritised, or should it just be right? Everyone, we're going to try and get this many together and roll it out to each town. One by one.
My opinion, you need to have a some sort of priority involved. You need to function your society and your economy back into working order. You need to prioritise the people on the front row of certain services that are provided. I mean, I've got a brother-in-law who's 20-something, young 20s.
27, 28?
Yeah, okay, well, older 20s. He's been given a jab over a lot of other people I know that might necessarily fall into the media's description of what somebody who deserves the vaccine is. So for me, what is it? Now, the first people that were getting vaccinated, they were what people were just going to casually label as old people.
So what, over 65?
I think that was the minimum age. Yeah,
Pensioners, basically.
Under 65s and over.
Yeah.
Now, everyone rushed and I was like, bang, get these dudes some jabs straight away. Wallop. Get it in them.
That's a very basic approach to how the government actually administered the jabs, but yeah.
You're looking at a pandemic. This is not a normal situation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in a pandemic situation, does it make sense to insure the old?
Insure the old. That's a good phrase. I mean, I know a lot of pensioners that are not going to like the wording on that, but... Right, okay, so I get why you're saying that, as in, what do they contribute to society?
But they've had a run.
Yeah, but they're also the most vulnerable. So that's a conscience kind of...
I don't know the science. Is there science that tells me that an older person of an older age is any more deserving than somebody of a younger age with exactly the same medical conditions listed, purely because of their age? What are we saying?
It's not deserved. Because you're older, you can't fight off anything easier. It takes longer to recover from bruises, from bumps.
What about fat people?
Oh, that's a different dynamic.
I'm just saying, they one of the scoring categories previously was obese people. So are we saying fat people are allowed to get the jab over and above a fit 67-year-old?
Well, I think they should accept the outcome with huge grace. I don't know how she feels about it, but basically... No, seriously. What I'm trying to say is there's some things that people do to themselves. Say, for example, like smokers. So you have people that smoke that have done that to themselves. People will question whether they deserve the same treatment on the NHS, such as lung transplants. And go back to George Best, talking about transplants. George Best, it was all over the paper. He didn't deserve the transplant because he was just going to ruin his insides, kill himself, which is exactly what he did. But how do you prioritise that then in your criteria of people that basically cause themselves ill health over people that choose to be healthy?
Yeah, it's controversial. You get people like that, exactly what you're saying, like NHS. Should people play money into people that don't want to be helped? Some people have do not resuscitate, do you know what I mean? They don't want to be resuscitated, but people go beyond that and they still resuscitate people, or they resuscitate people that keep coming into hospital every weekend or every other weekend, and nurses see the same people. I'm going to base my criteria on the fact that I don't care how your medical condition came around.
Okay.
As in...
So a blanket cover of if you have a medical condition, you're in that category.
That's how I'm gonna base it.
Nice. I wouldn't disagree. I don't think many people would disagree. If
you've got heart problems because you are 80, or you got heart problems because you're 12 and you're 25 stone, I'm going by medical condition first. That's my top sorting criteria.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I'm going to come down to whether or not I feel you deserve it from a society point of view and my complete judgmental opinion point of view.
As so you're going to sit there file by file of every person in the country and be like, yeah, but you're a bit of a dick, so...
Yeah, it may even come down to what mood I'm in.
Again, are these going to be blanket covers, or are you going to research your groups? Let's go back. Give me, in priority order, so who's the first group of people of your choosing that deserve the vaccine?
I'd go for all the nice people out there. No.
Okay, determine nice.
I'd go with the nice people, man. You can get an 80-year-old and they can be mean.
Yeah, but then...
They can be mean.
They might have done their graft, put in their taxes and all that good stuff, Served, if they're 80. How far are we away from the war?
What war?
80 will put you at 1940, so 1941 now. But...
Oh, gee, okay, yeah, all right. So we're talking survivors of that, what?
Yeah, just because she turned out to be a bit stick up her ass because she had to go through shit when she was a kid. She deserves the vaccine. I'm calling her Doris. Doris deserves the pissing vaccine. It really does depend on what mood you're in.
We've got a little bit of hindsight on this now because we now know that we're probably coming out the end of this. Well, look, this might get broadcast in 3 years' time and go, oh, they didn't know nothing then. But it looks like we're coming out of it. We're giving people the vaccines. Doesn't really look like it's going to be a massive long-term effect to people. We're not going to turn into a bunch of zombies. Obviously, I did question the fact that whether we should be elongating the lives of those that have already lived an elongated life, or whether we should, be piling those injections into the kids. making sure they're okay. Nobody knows. But looks like they made the right choice. Pick up the person who's got the biggest health concern.
Yeah, so okay, yeah, but put them in order for put them in order for me. So give me
It's cardiovascular, isn't it?
yeah,
If you've got a cardiovascular condition, you are more likely to be at risk,
Okay.
apparently, to COVID than others.
I'm asthmatic and I smoke. Now, because I smoke, that might make me worse than other asthmatics. Does that put me in a different category? Should the other asthmatics get it before me? If you choose to smoke and have a respiratory disease, say like COPD, say like, I know emphysemia's kind of gone, it's kind of called COPD now, but things like that, like asthma, do you deserve it more because you chose not to smoke?
Well, you're kind of doubling up on yourself, really, aren't you? Asthma and smoking, you are doubling up on yourself, but you're not going to get judged by that. NHS ain't coming around your gaff going, Mikey, how many cigarettes you had today? How bad's your asthma today? I'm going to base a decision on that. What they're going to look at is the diagnosis you've got of asthma, regardless of whether you smoke or not. It's down to you. It's personal. It's a social choice.
Yeah, but then, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is basically people that cause themselves ill health, should they be put in subcategories? So if you prioritise, say
No.
for example,
I thought we'd
you've got
established that.
people that are, say, overweight, you've got people that smoke, you've got people that have respiratory diseases, you've got people, say, older people because they're more vulnerable, kids, or people that work with kids, people that work in society, like frontline staff.
That's your next layer, isn't it? That's the next tier to this. What is the point? What's the drive behind administering those vaccines to people? What you're trying to put people into an environment where they're going to be safe. What use are you going to make of that safe environment?
I guess the real question is, what do you prioritise, as in health or the economy?
Well, I'm starting to think that perhaps it's not about the health necessarily, but his prime concern when it first happened. A lot of people were dying, thousands of people dying, unheard of. Like, still scary numbers.
Yeah.
But everyone thought, Jesus Christ, what if it's like the Black Plague? What if it rips through everybody?
Right, so I actually did the research on this and I can vouch this as fact. I looked up, probably, it must have been about June time. I looked up the amount of people that died from a respiratory illness the year prior. So 2018 I looked to actually. And the numbers were on course. So it was halfway through. I think it was 40-something thousand or 400-something thousand. I will look it up and I'll post it, right? But there was no more than a normal amount of deaths of a respiratory disease in the year of COVID last year, 2020, than there was of people dying of respiratory diseases in previous years.
So from what you've seen and looked at, obviously I appreciate it's probably quite broad, but the COVID didn't make anybody who had an existing respiratory disease any more likely to die than they have in any other year going by a normal year.
Well, no, sorry, because COVID counts as a respiratory disease, doesn't it? It attacks your breathing. It attacks your lungs. It attacks your whole respiratory system. So it's seen as a respiratory disease, and it was included in the deaths in 2020 so far.
Then surely
point.
that'd be completely different then. Because all these things that we're recording, like 1,000 deaths a day, 2,000 deaths a day, surely that's more than 2,000 respiratory related diseases in a normal week.
Okay, so you have things like COVID related. So someone dies from a heart attack and they had COVID. That would go down as COVID related. Purely because what they're saying is if
There
they
is a
didn't have
contest,
COVID,
isn't
they
there?
might not have had a heart attack.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then again, my opinion is if you're at risk of a heart attack, it could happen at any time, whether you're ill or not.
Yeah, it's true. They did link some convenience stats. Maybe, for whatever gain it might be, political or, internal funding reasons, you could sweep stats sideways, from COVID and deflect or inflect away from yourself.
Yeah, you can. It's just, it didn't seem like as much as what the media was making out. That's all I'm trying to say. It didn't seem to make as much of a difference because they wasn't recording it accurately as well.
I think you touched on an interesting point earlier. And you mentioned, was someone more deserving because they were naturally in that state of affairs or because they'd arrived there through their own doing, their own hand? You mentioned George Best and his lung. Oh, no, sorry, his liver.
Yeah.
That's a strong point, because there's a lot of money that's wasted on people that don't want to be helped, can't be helped.
Yeah, you say drug addicts, for example, they, for 9 out of 10 don't want to be helped. They should be, and most people would get through it. But most enjoy what they're doing.
And for that reason, they're out. They're not making the list. I think if your condition is brought on by the fact that you're off your tits every night, no, I'm not having that. You're not getting in front of Beryl next door.
That's a safe bet. You could stand up as Boris and say that.
2 World Wars and 1 World Cup. She's been through enough.
Who, Beryl?
Yeah.
Oh.
She don't know what
next door.
MDMA is.
Okay. So we're starting to get a chain of command here. So Beryl's above junkies, which is decent.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, if you brought it on yourself, bruv. That's how I'm judging you. Remember I said I had 2 levels?
What's your levels of brought it on yourself? Does smokers count?
All right, you could have an 85-year-old with a collapsed vein.
No, I get that.
Every other medical condition could be 0. But they're 85-year-olds, they've got a collapsed vein. You could have a 20-year-old with 0 medical conditions.
Right.
All they've got is a collapsed vein. Now, there may be very, very different reasons as to why that 20-year-old and an 80-odd-year-old have got a collapsed vein. But, in the eyes of the law...
What if the 20-year-old's got one because he's a junkie?
Which is exactly what I'm saying. I'm stripping it back. I'm stripping it back to the fact that all they are 2 people with an age attached to them in exactly the same medical conditions with nothing else affecting it. How do you then separate that as government criteria?
Oh, whether you're born with it or it's developed over time. Yeah, but then developed over time doesn't necessarily tell you why. That Beryl at 80, if that started at 70, you'd be like, well, that's down to kind of natural causes or whatever. With the junkie, if he's been doing it for 10 years.
Don't know.
There's your boulder. So we're going on the list, top of your priority. You seem to favour frontline people quite a bit.
Well, yeah, you got it, yeah.
So should we say vulnerable frontline people make your top list? Because I'd completely agree with that. If I was making my list, they'd be top.
Yeah. Then number 2, you've got to think about your second line workers. Everyone, much vaulted and publicised frontline workers. You've got your second line workers. I'm talking about your mums and your dads in the house. Some of us have acted as teachers. Some of us have acted as hairdressers, makeup artists. Do you know what I mean? We've had to get involved, do some things that we've relied upon the civil services to provide for our children.
Hairdressers, the civil service. No, sorry, I know what you're saying. But with like second line, for example, like I said before, I work for a financial institution, so they've found a way to do most things virtually, either phone or web-based, things like that. So that's kind of a second line worker where you're not facing the public.
Yeah.
But you're still having to work. I was seen as a key worker, which is crazy. But then you think about it, a bank probably is a key to society.
If you've got a geezer that works in the high street, is retail, yeah?
Yeah.
He works for, he works for a little like shoe shine company. They mend shoes, whatever.
He works for Timpson's.
Yeah, at Timpson's. They mend shoes, whatever like that. They can cut certain metal objects, things like keys like that. So is he a key worker?
I was thinking,
You
where's he
didn't
going
see that
with
coming,
this?
did you?
I was
Is he a
thinking, where's he going
frontline
with
key
this?
worker?
Where's
So
the guy at Timpson's? Okay.
Can we insure him?
What about locksmiths? Are
Nah.
they key workers?
Yeah, they're key workers. They're allowed.
Okay. What about security guards?
Yeah, key
Work
workers.
keys.
Yeah, I'm having that.
Caretakers?
Basically, if you want to go out there and earn yourself some money, just attach a key to your jeans.
To your waist, yeah.
You're right.
Get one of those ones on a rope so you look all professional as a key worker.
Well,
Sorry to any key workers getting offended out there, but you know what's going down.
I think we can all agree it's very, very, very complicated to try and decide who should or who shouldn't. At the end of the day, change name to Errol, get a job, working for a cobbler, make yourself some keys. You'll probably stand a chance of getting the COVID injection before anyone else. I say COVID injection, I mean...
We're just gonna give you COVID.
Just go out and get COVID, immunise yourself.
Yeah, be an old person and develop a condition and don't do it to yourself. Job done. Last part of the show, I've got a random fact for you.
Oh, go on.
The sea lion is the first non-human mammal to keep a beat.
What's a belter?
To keep a musical beat.
What, we're talking like a 2/4 garage, 2-step.
I mean, I'd love it if he was all dubstep, like dirty bass.
What was the beat he kept?
No idea. That's the fact. So
What?
in itself, a sea lion is the first non-human mammal to keep a beat.
The first. Strange length first?
Yeah, it doesn't say only. It's the first.
I wonder what the first one was.
Well, it's a sea lion. It's
Maybe
fact.
it was like a beaver.
Mate, the second could have been, I don't know. What about the big apes?
Well, I've seen the advert.
But do you know what I'm saying?
He
Phil
kept a
Collins
beat
was
in
like,
that,
"Do you
didn't
know
he?"
what? Who knew they could keep a beat?
Kept a beat.
No, that was EastEnders. Where the fuck was that going?
Not bad. Have they got opposable thumbs? Gorillas.
Yeah. Monkeys do.
No, that was a big evolutionary step. But because playing the drums in that Phil Collins advert is pretty sick. It's pretty good.
I don't know if it was a costume. It would take a long time to train an ape to be a drummer.
From an evolution, was it factually correct? I like to be factually correct.
You can write to Cadbury's.
About certain things.
Do you know
obviously.
what you should do is write to Cadbury's and then just share the reply with everyone, because that would be hilarious. If you had a proper lad working at Cadbury's on their emails, just coming back with, I completely understand, Mr. Hi Joe.
What we don't understand is getting back to the original point of what we were saying. What was it we were saying?
The sea lion is the first non-human mammal to be able to keep a beat. So I'm guessing they test that with music.
Yeah. What do you do? Like throw a reggae beat at a starfish, see what he does?
And the sea lion hasn't got hands, has it?
Flippers.
So is it actually creating a beat? Has it got bongos? Or is it like just nodding its head? Because then a lot of animals could nod its head to a beat. I've seen dogs do it.
That's not a bad shout. You see them videos, didn't you? And you see like a parrot when he's going mental in his cage because
Yeah.
his owner's dropping a bit of D&B or a bit of Metallica.
Bit of
something-
Tupac, and it's like,
something like that.
bop into the beat.
I want to have a bird. She had a bird. Funnily enough,
Bird had a bird.
She had an African grey parrot. They're very intelligent parrots. They reckon they've got mental age of about 4 or 5 years old. But anyway, she had one of them, and she used to play it like hip hop beats, like lo-fi hip hop beats. Nice, and I specify lo-fi because he didn't just like anything. Didn't like it all like noise heavy, just lo-fi beat.
Nice
And he used to bang its head, go nuts for it. Bit of bang bang, lovely bop up and down. Any other? Very, very different.
But again, the thing about the question is it's the first. So, is it just they randomly picked them and thought, oh, do you know what? He seems to bop his head a bit. We'll start doing research here, and then we'll look at other animals. And is
Right.
there thousands? That...
Read the wording to me one last time.
Okay, are you ready? The sea lion is the first non-human mammal to keep a beat.
It's not bad, that is it?
That's your random fact.
I'll take that.
What have we learnt this week, Joseph? What's happened? I can't. It's been a good over an hour.
So we learnt this week that it's probably a bad week to car share with Tiger Woods. If you had shares in helmets, unfortunately for you, Daft Punk have retired. Boris has come up with a plan, though, that's going to make sure that we get to meet each other. And one of his actual recommendations, was that we meet on park benches and socialise. So by socialise, I mean like drink cider. So basically endorsed by the government, we can go and drink with our friends in a park bench and drink cider. Dudes are landing cameras on Mars, apparently.
Pretty cool.
Can't be faked. Digital cameras are involved. And then you've got Harry and Megs, bless them, trying to carve out their little corner in the world. Vaccines.
How they should roll out, what order they should be in, and we basically discovered that if you're vulnerable on the front line, you're good. If you're a junkie, you're not so good.
Sea lions can keep a beat better than Ringo Starr, though.
Yeah, that is mental.
We've probably learned that if you are going to try and leave the royal family, it's very cautious at the best of times. Just don't take any right-hand corners in Paris.
Oh.
When you come to the end of the line with a buddy who is more than a brother and a little less than a wife, getting blind drunk together is really the only way to say farewell.